What's up everybody, it's Matt from Peter Glenn, and in this video I'm going to give you some tips on how to learn how to snowboard day one. Let's check this out. Alright, so when it comes to snowboarding, it's definitely one of those things that can be a little hard right off the bat, but I think it's actually easier to learn than skiing. So when it comes down to it, skiing is easier to do. Snowboarding is easier to learn. Snowboarding is one of those things where when you want to get yourself to a point of not knowing anything, to the point where you're riding down the hill and you're feeling comfortable getting from the top to the bottom and taking some speed, you definitely can learn that a lot faster than skis. With skis, obviously you can do pizza, French fries, and you basically pizza and you kind of get your way down the hill. But when it comes to advancing past that, when you've got two skis, you have to learn to utilize both legs that can move independently of each other and your upper body versus a snowboard, which is basically your upper body and your lower body, and those are the only two things that you have to worry about. And that's why snowboarding is actually easier to learn and get better at. So right off the bat, day one on a snowboard, if you want to take a lesson, there's nothing wrong with that. I always say 4 days by yourself, knowing the things that I'm about to tell you, that's the most days you're ever gonna need. Most people, when they go out, figure it out within 1 or 2 times, but anybody that says they can't snowboard, I guarantee they have not been out riding to a real hill, not the local sledding hill, more than 4 times. You're basically taking your upper body, your lower body, trying to figure out what to do, and then once you've got it, it clicks. It's like riding a bike. So one of the biggest things I always tell people when you're learning how to snowboard is when you look at that bunny hill, don't go there. It's the worst place to learn how to snowboard. You want to look at the runs that are right next to it. Basically a run that's going to have the same pitch, but maybe has a chairlift. Yeah, the magic carpet is easy to ride. If it doesn't have a magic carpet and has a rope toe, that's actually harder to ride than the lift. The lift is actually not a hard thing to figure out. And when you're on a run that's 3-4 times as long, but it's the same pitch, you're going to get more time riding and less time going up and down the hill. Plus, when you ride those shorter hills, you literally can get in maybe like 2 practices, and then you're at the bottom of the hill and you got to go back up, and you're not getting that repetition in, and you're not being able to practice the maneuvers to get yourself and to move your board around over and over and over again. But definitely check the link in our description how to ride the chairlift, because that can be a big thing and give you some good pointers that you can even practice at home that can actually help you out when you are learning how to snowboard. And the second thing that I always tell people, speed is not bad. Now, I'm not saying that you got to go out and you got to go crazy fast, but you definitely want to take a little bit more speed than you think you need. I always tell people when you're first learning, get to that point where you feel like you're starting to panic and give yourself a 1/1000. Give yourself that extra second to gain a little bit more speed. And the reason I say that is snowboarding is about moving your board and actually getting it to slide across the snow. And if you are moving a little bit faster, it's easier for that board to move across the snow and for you to actually dig those edges in. Kind of think about it with an ice skate. If you're just cruising very slow and you took 1 push, you're not going to do a hockey stop. But if you're going super fast, you're moving across the ice and you're basically going to be able to stop faster. That's exactly what the edge of a snowboard is. It's a piece of metal, just like a hockey blade or an ice skate blade. It's only that half the blade is here and half the blade is here. So again, you don't have to go crazy fast, but 1 more second of speed makes a huge difference when you're trying to slide your board across the snow and get into that stopping position. So right off the bat, the thing that we need to figure out is how to move this board around. When you are snowboarding, your weight's on your front foot. You're not leaning forward. You just have your weight on your front foot. Kind of think about it. I've got my feet probably about as wide as this is right now, and this is my weight on my front foot. And you can see it doesn't look much different than this, but this is my weight on my front foot, not leaning forward. And basically what you're doing is you're steering the board with your back foot. I always say picture that you've got a pole that goes through your leg, out the bottom of your foot, and right into the ground. Now you can pivot on that pole, and how are you going to do that? You're going to do that by swinging your upper body and by swinging your lower body, and you can spin. And that's exactly what it is like on a snowboard. Weights on your front foot, you're swinging your upper body, and then you're using your lower body to follow and push that board around. And the other thing that you need to remember too is that whatever edge is closest to the bottom of the hill, we need to lift that up. Now we don't need to go crazy on our heels or crazy on our toes. You just need to get it up off of the snow just a little bit so that front edge isn't going to dig into the snow. So definitely a good mental thing that if you are going down the hill and you're turning on your heel side edge, you're going to want to lean back a little bit, which is going to lift up the front edge. If you're going to go on your toe side edge, again, you want to lean away from the bottom of the hill and you want to get your heel edge up. So the combination of those two things, swinging your foot and lifting your edge, that's going to get you to where you want to be to learn how to ride. And this is something that you can actually do out in your front yard. You can flatten out the snow, take your snowboard out there, and you can literally practice swinging your upper body and letting your lower body follow and kind of swinging the board back and forth a little bit and lifting up those edges just a tiny, tiny bit. And it literally can be as much as pushing down with your heels and pushing down with your toes. So once we've figured all of that out and you've figured out how to maneuver that board around, now all we have to do is learn how to stop. Sounds easy, right? Super easy, just stop. I know it sounds crazy, but stopping on a snowboard, this obviously is a safety thing because if you are feeling uncomfortable, you want to be able to stop. But stopping is how you're actually going to learn to turn your snowboard. Right off the bat, what we're going to do is we're going to be standing on the snow sideways, so you're not going anywhere, and then you're going to point yourself straight down the hill. And when you start to go down the hill, again, get to that point where you feel like you're starting to panic a little bit from the speed, give yourself one more second. You're going to swing your chest towards the bottom of the hill. Now, as you do this, let your lower body follow, and we're going to lift that front edge up, and we're going to take our weight from our front foot, and as we go sideways, you're going to actually even that weight out on both heels. What this is going to do is it's going to push your entire edge down into the snow, and it's going to help you slide to a stop. Now, when you're in that sideways position, the one thing is if you overturn, what you can do is actually shift your weight. Shifting your weight back and forth when you are sideways on your board will actually make the board want to go in that direction. If you shift towards your right foot, whether that's your nose or your tail, that's going to want to start heading down the hill. If you shift towards the left, that side's going to want to start going down the hill. And I don't mean it's going to start taking off, but you are going to start moving in that direction. There actually is a skill called the falling leaf that is a good drill to help you realize that, but it's not something that you absolutely have to learn. But again, swing yourself sideways, lift those toes up, and dig your heels in and get yourself to come to a stop. Now, you want to do this on your heel side edge and on your toe side edge too. So the crazy thing is your heel side edge always feels more comfortable because you can see where you're going and you always feel that just sense of comfort, but it's a million times easier to stop on your toe side edge because you can take all of your weight and push it straight down on your toes. You can't do that with your heels. So toe side, it's the exact opposite. Turn yourself, start riding down the hill, pick up that speed, swing your upper body towards the upper part of the hill, and as soon as you do that, let your lower body follow. Now we're gonna, again, lift our heel edge this time. Our heels are gonna be closer to the bottom of the hill, so we're gonna get that edge up off the snow. And then again, even your weight out and push your toes into the snow. This is gonna basically make you come to a stop on your toe side edge. Whether you're doing heel side or toe side, if you do feel uncomfortable, it's actually safer to try to sit down or kneel down on your toe side edge than it is to try to keep yourself up. It's not a habit that you want to get into, but it is one of those things where if you are feeling super, super uneasy, there's no shame in kneeling down or sitting down. Also, if you do fall and you're feeling yourself falling, you want to fall on your forearms. You do not want to put your hands out. One of the biggest injuries in snowboarding is actually wrist injuries, and it's from somebody catching an edge, falling, and catching themselves with their hands, and they injure their wrists. So this is all you have to learn. You have to learn to stop on your heels and learn to stop on your toes. You want to practice this over and over and over again. Now, big thing too, always alternate. For every heel side, there's a toe side. People go out and they're like, I'm gonna learn my heel side edge today. And they sit there in the heels, and now it's stuck in their head that they have to be on their heel side edge. So when they go to do toes, they automatically lift up and they stick their heel edge in the snow and they fall. You want to get in a habit, for every heel side, there's a toe side. Even if you turn on your heels and you don't slide to a stop and you sit down or you fall, your next turn or your next stop is going to be on your toes. Always toes, heels, toes, heels. Once you've learned to do that and you're feeling comfortable going ride, stop, now what you're going to want to do is go 45 degrees. So instead of riding down the hill and turning 90 degrees and stopping and then turning the board back, what you're gonna do is you're gonna ride down the hill, you're gonna go 45 degrees and then back to straight, and then toe that side, 45 degrees, back to straight. So this is super important because this is how you learn to turn your snowboard and get where you need to go. When you see people out riding and they're carving and they're up on their edge and they're digging in like crazy, that's not something that you need to learn. As you're sliding these carves and you're getting more comfortable, those slides, the faster you ride and the more you learn to manipulate your board, they will naturally turn into carves. It's most important that you learn to slide your turns. This way you can get back and forth down the hill, get to where you need to go. If you need to go down a certain path or get over to the lift, you can get yourself back and forth in a nice, easy fashion, in a comfortable fashion. So hopefully this helps out a lot. And again, this is something that you can practice a little bit on flat snow, just in your front yard before you go out for that first day. Learning to do these simple maneuvers where you're just learning how to stop on your toes and on your heel side edge, and you can be snowboarding in 1 to 2 days. Again, no more than 4 days. You'll literally figure it out in no time. But if you've got any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we can get you into some rad gear, but most importantly, we'll make sure you can learn how to use it properly too. Also make sure to like, subscribe, and definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop, and grab yourself a new snowboard and get out and learn how to ride, because any day of riding is a good day of riding.